balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. You know, I keep wanting to pull for some reason, I keep wanting to pull the mic this way, and it just it doesn't frame me properly because my camera isn't right. So I got to make sure that I kind of scooch back over the other way. I did it on purpose because I want to try and, get a little more centered to my desk. One of these days, I'll pop open the camera, and you guys will be able to see my workstation. I'll go ahead and do that, get things going. But anyway, someday. All right, let's go ahead and get things kicked off tonight. And I've already forgotten who's up. Give me just a second here. Hold on. I know how to find this out. Just give me just a second here. Let's see who it is. Oh, it's Kat. Ooh. It's Kat Pekarik. I sang happy birthday to her last night. I don't know if she's in the chat. I don't think I've seen her, but anyway. Gosh, I should take a drink, but before I do that, let's go ahead and get Kat up. Kat Pekarik is up tonight for the Pledge of Allegiance, so if you are of mine, please stand, remove your hat. If you're wearing one like me, place your hand over your heart and follow along with Kat Pekarik. I could actually go over here, is what you're saying? I could go over this way, like all the way over here. Yeah, that would just throw me completely off. I'm not going to do that. I want to be... Anyway, let's go ahead and follow along with Kat as she recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This land is your land, America the beautiful. God bless America.
All right, and of course, thank you very much for that wonderful rendition of the pledge there, Kat. Appreciate it. If you would like to hear your rendition of the pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself performing the pledge in your style, then take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, and attach it to an email to send it off to me. Send it to fans, F-A-N-S, at americanperspective.online. That's fans at americanperspective.online. If you use your phone to do it, apparently you can share it. That, of course, is our good old friend, may he rest in peace, Buddy Weiser, always used to say, share to share to fans at americanperspective.online. All right. Tonight I'm actually going back to my roots. I'm heading back into the Irish whiskey parts. This is a new one my Mrs. Whiskey picked up for me, Bushmill's Prohibition recipe of Irish whiskey. So we're going to give this one a try tonight. It is pretty potent. I mean, it's 92 proof. So that's pretty good in terms of that. But anyway, of course, it is in the fantastic gift by the Whiskey Warrior P1s. It takes stones to drink with whiskey glass, and there, of course, are the stones in the bottom. That's where they are, right there. Woohoo! Let's give this Bushmills Irish Whiskey Prohibition style a try. Okay. I can work with this. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I can work with this. All right. Well, there we go. Yeah, BAM is, of course, the one that coordinated all of that and got that done. That and the American Perspective logo glass, too. So yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get things kicked off with our headline sponsor. And tonight being Saturday, of course, it is the Institute on the Constitution. The Institute on the Constitution is, wow. Okay. The Institute on the Constitution was established in 2004 as a 501c3 nonprofit with one singular mission, and that is to restore the constitutional republic through grassroots education. All courses and materials are developed using primary source documents and taught the American view of law and government as defined in the Declaration of Independence in the following 3 key points. 1, there is a God. 2, our rights come from him. And 3, the purpose of civil government is to secure our God-given rights and protect, by the way, secure and protect our God-given rights. Oh, I'm a little off. Anyway, the IOTC offers the opportunity to educate yourself on our most precious founding document, the Constitution of the United States. They also provide tools to educate your community and get involved with local government. Start by taking their free U.S. Constitution course and go from there. Use my affiliate link, iotc.americanperspective.online, to sign up. And while you are there, take a moment to look through their other course material and information. My affiliate link, once again, is iotc.americanperspective.online to get great content to learn about our historical founding and support the show in the process. That's iotc.americanperspective.online. Or if you just want this fabulous Saddleback leather-bound U.S. Constitution to support the show, go to constitution.americanperspective.online. It's all the numerals in the Roman variety are in ascending numerical order. Here we go. 1/8 of an inch of Saddleback leather wrapped around pages that are water and tear resistant. Not to mention there is no cheap glue here. This is bound by stitching going all the way through the leather and the pages contained within. It's got a 100-year warranty against materials and manufacturing defects, such that if something does go wrong, you can send it back to the manufacturer and they will either fix it or replace it for free. It is, rest in peace, buddy tested, buddy approved. It is Billy tasted, Billy approved. And my youngest whiskey warrior has confirmed that the information contained within will help you study for your civics badge and scouts. It'll also help you study for that civics exam. And all you have to do is head on over to constitution.americanperspective.online. I just got to say, folks, seriously, you should grab this. Seriously, grab this and take it and put it into the stockings at Christmas. What'll be fun to watch is if you have conservative family members, they will look at this and they'll be like, wow, that is awesome. And then there'll be those who are of the left who will try to destroy this thing, and you can watch them, because I'm telling you, this thing is built. This thing is built like, well, kind of like a Mack truck, man. It's going to be really difficult for them to do something with this, and it would be fun to watch. Woodens, or G, everybody knows him by G, says that the stitching is such that a apocalypse survivalist would appreciate. I'm telling you, go to constitution.americanperspective.online. Christmas is coming up. Get your order in now for all of your stockings, and get them for everybody. Get them for your entire family. I know that I would appreciate it, and the Constitution, the Institute on the Constitution, of course, would as well. Get them for your whole family. Stick them in the stocking. Doesn't matter what political party your family members follow, because, you know, you'll get entertainment at least out of the out of the leftist in your family. Anyway, head on over to constitution.americanperspective.online and get yours today. Also, check out the rest of the Institute on the Constitution's offerings, as they have some fantastic information and other books available to you for just fantastic information. All right. You know that Bushmills has made my or Bushmills, not Bushmills. I don't know why I said Mells, but anyway, this Bushmills, this stuff made my mouth water, and that's why you're hearing me, swallow quite a bit here, because, So I gotta go and get another sip just to make my mouth water some more. There we go. All right. Well, folks, the whole Kimmel thing. First of all, I just gotta say, Ted Cruz popped off at one point. I think it was in some sort of a committee hearing or whatever. And he popped off criticizing the FCC chair for what the FCC chair said. And, honestly, I like Ted Cruz, but occasionally he'll go and he'll stick his nose in something that really it doesn't need to be stuck in. Because, again, just to reiterate, the reason why Kimmel was kicked off the air was not due to what the FCC chair said. His ratings are abysmal. His, the affiliates, now keep in mind, ABC Broadcasting does not own every single station that they broadcast on. What they do is they provide content. Sort of like what I'm doing here. I'm providing content to Rumble. And if Rumble doesn't like my content, although they would never do this, but if Rumble doesn't like my content, they can kick me off. They can say, no, you're no longer available here. Same thing with X, same thing with YouTube, otherwise known as ScrewTube, which, by the way, if you're over on YouTube, head on over to Rumble. Just saying. X, same way. If they don't like the content that I'm providing, they can kick me off, which is essentially what happened. 39 of one particular outlet or affiliate, 39 of them said, yeah, we're no longer going to be showing Jimmy Kimmel, which of course was going to drop his ratings even further into the toilet than where they already were. And of course, broadcasting is a money-making scenario. They need to make money. They need to be able to have their brand advertisers present themselves in front of you like I just did. And so anyway, Ted Cruz kind of said that what the FCC commissioner was saying was sort of scary. Well, what they also don't seem to understand, by the way, what they also don't seem to understand is there actually are regulations and standards by the FCC that have been in place for decades. And it just so happens that because we've had Obama, who reversed the Smith-Mundt Act, and we had Biden, where they didn't bother to police things like, public good regulations or decency regulations or any of these kinds of things. The left is like thinking that this is an FCC thing. And the FCC actually, it just happened to be coincidental that the FCC chairperson was saying, hey, what Jimmy Kimmel said kind of may violate our regulations, which we should look into. And of course, the left immediately thought, oh my God, this is, because of Jimmy Kimmel. And so they're canceling free speech. Once again, just to point this out, Kimmel's speech is not canceled. Kimmel's speech, his ability to go to a outlet like Rumble or YouTube or, CBS, NBC, he could even start up a cable channel or a cable show and work with the cable companies who don't subscribe or are not regulated by the FCC. His speech is not done. He can do whatever he wants in terms of all that. What happened was ABC decided, because its affiliates were no longer showing his show and his ratings were in the toilet and he was essentially losing money, that it was time to move on. And so they, summarily. Plus, let's be honest, they were kind of upset about what he said too. And so they said, okay, yeah, we're done. Now, the late night show genre, I showed you the 3 top performing shows. They all have been losing ratings. Every single one of them have been losing ratings. And part of the reason why they're losing ratings is because they're taking a target toward 50% of the population. And they're basically saying that, hey, 50% of the population is insert whatever you want at that point. Now, this show is an opinion show, and I'm a right-leaning opinion host. I'm not attempting to entertain with jokes or, attempt to gather a huge audience. I would love for my audience to grow. But I'm sitting here, and I am providing truthful, factual information of a conservative nature that would be of interest to conservatives. That pretty much is my decided genre. And so, that being said, yeah, there's a reason why I'm not really on any of the broadcasting. I mean, other than the fact that they don't even know that I exist. But beyond all of that, of course, the fact of the matter is, I would be extremely surprised if ABC, NBC, or CBS were to call me up and be like, hey, we like your show. We'd like to air it. Yeah, that's not going to happen. And I'm not delusional in the fact that I think it's going to, because I know it isn't. All of that being said, and now everything water under the bridge here, because we have to be factual here. The facts are that Jimmy Kimmel said something very nasty. And the affiliate stations all got together and said, yeah, you know what? That wasn't really kosher. Copacetic. And so they said, yeah, we're no longer going to wear Jimmy Kimmel anymore. Well, it turns out we now have some more information about what Jimmy Kimmel was about to do the following broadcast that he was going to take. So this in Red State. Oh, I got to turn it on here. Hold on. So this in Red State. So I apologize for that. That was I should have muted the mic. That was bad. I'm embarrassed. Anyway, this in Red State, a new report has come out that Kimmel was about to make things even worse before the suspension. So, before he actually got indefinitely preempted, there was a report that he wasn't going to apologize. He didn't think he had done anything wrong or anything to apologize for when he implied that the assassin was MAGA and mocked MAGA over the grief. And this is what he said, this is what he said on Monday. We've hit new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang trying to characterize this kid who had killed Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points for it. Well, we all know, because I've been showing you on this show, that no, this guy is not MAGA. He's not anywhere near MAGA. He is a staunch leftist, and there is, obviously, whether or not his motives were political or because his boyfriend was, a part of a group that Charlie Kirk basically said, hey, that isn't godly, which I've put out to you before. I've told you what's going on. But anyway, Jimmy Kimmel said that on his Monday show. Well, then on Tuesday, apparently he said that many in MAGA land are working very hard to capitalize on the murder of Charlie Kirk, and then he accused Vice President J.D. Vance of blaming the left without evidence. Without evidence? The evidence was all over the place. It was written on the bullets. It was written in his text to his lover. The evidence was everywhere. It was in his conversations with his own family. The evidence was everywhere. And so anyway, once again, he was going to kind of double down or triple down or whatever down on all of this, despite what he had already said. And he also was reportedly going to claim that the right has had more extremist violence and brought up January 6th. Yeah, where one person died because they got shot by a Capitol Police officer. Another person died of natural causes because they couldn't get the medical professionals there quick enough. And then, of course, there's the leftist lunacy on the idea that there were a couple of Capitol Police officers that died, especially Sicknick, Officer Sicknick, who died due to natural causes a day or two after January 6th. I mean, but facts, you don't let facts get in the way for all you leftists out there. You guys just don't do it. So what ended up happening is by Wednesday, Disney wanted to know what they wanted to do or what was going to be done. And according to the Wall Street Journal, Kimmel was about to make it worse. He planned to address it by blaming MAGA, saying that his words were purposely being twisted by them. No, you literally outright lied about the political affiliation of the murderer. There's no way of twisting that. So anyway, the point is that they pretty much were talking to Kimmel, and Kimmel essentially said, yeah, I'm just going to double or triple down, whatever it is. And ABC kind of at the point was like, well, all right, you give us no other choice. We're going to go ahead and yank him. And they went ahead and yanked him. And CNN characterized it as, according to one of the individuals familiar with the situation, Kimmel was prepared to deliver his monologue on his show Wednesday night and planned to address the right-wing backlash to his remarks made earlier in the week regarding the politicization of Kirk's murder. They said killing, but murder. This individual describes Kimmel's planned monologue as very hot, taking aim at the MAGA base. Yeah. So, again, he was planning on doubling down, being even more of a jackass, and, ABC said, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. So, yeah, that really would have made things, I think, a lot worse. So ABC, well done for doing the right thing and getting rid of this guy. I mean, again, like I explained the other night, I think it was last night or maybe the night before, where he was running around with Adam Carolla on the Man Show, and he was they did a skit or a piece, a segment, whatever you want to call it, where Jimmy Kimmel was going up behind women on the street and making lewd and obscene gestures, simulating sexual contact with these women, unbeknownst to them. Well, it appears to be unbeknownst, although you never know. They might have told her what she was going to do, and she thought, oh, yeah, that would be funny, and went ahead and stood there anyway. But, yeah, he should have been canceled a long, long time ago. And, yeah, so anyway, there you go. And, just for some numbers, by the way, 66 of the 200 affiliates said that they weren't going to run the show anyway. So this is why ABC's, decision is taken care of this. Now, the Sinclair, which was ABC's biggest affiliate group, said they wanted not only an apology from Kimmel, but they also wanted the ABC to sit down and discuss professionalism and accountability for the future. Apparently, according to this Red State article, they also wanted action from the FCC. So that would be backwards of what all of you leftist morons are trying to say. That would be a broadcaster going to the FCC, attempting to get the FCC to actually uphold their laws, not the other way around. So, yeah. Anyway, there you go. And like I reported last night, he's looking to try and get out of his contract. Don't know if that's actually going to happen or not, but we'll see. Well, another moron. This one goes into the moron files for sure. Our semi-favorite for the moron award. It's between her, AOC, Dan Goldman, and I think Chris Murphy of Connecticut, I think is where we're at, the four morons. But anyway, the moron award now for tonight goes to Jasmine Crockett. Yes, that's right. Jasmine Crockett of Texas. She apparently was she was on an interview with the Netflix television personality and a, admittedly gender queer hairdresser, Jonathan Van Ness, on the Grounded podcast. And Crockett, who used to be a former public defender, apparently she somehow got her freaking legal license. I have no idea how somebody that stupid could actually get one. But anyway, she reflected during this podcast, and she says on her experiences working with what she called indigent clients. She rambled on and she said, quote, "It's understanding what ends up having people become criminally impacted really informs so much of what I do legislatively." She said, when somebody goes out and commits a crime, they don't typically say, well, I'm a D, I'm an R, meaning a Democrat or a Republican, or I'm an I, meaning that they're an independent. She goes, it's about how do you fix it? How do you make communities safer? She then elaborated further, and this is where the stupid comes in. She says, just because someone has committed a crime, it doesn't make them a criminal. Wait, what? The very definition of criminal is somebody who has gone out and been convicted of a crime. I mean, really? Where the hell do these people come from? And how in the hell do they get elected? That's what I want to know. Because, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine this. Just because someone has committed a crime, that doesn't make them a criminal? Well, then she continued on that statement and said that is completely different. Being a criminal is more so about your mindset. Oh. So in other words, I could commit a crime, but in my mind, I'm not a criminal. And so because I don't think I'm a criminal, I'm not a criminal anymore. Is that how that works? I think that the vast majority of the American public, or any public, to be honest with you, would be against that. Yeah, here, and then she rounds out that series of statements by saying committing a crime can come from a lot of different reasons. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine how, I mean, oof. Yeah, you're not a criminal. You're just going to be convicted of a criminal offense, which will make you a criminal. But because you don't think that you're a criminal, well, that means you're not a criminal. Just like thinking that you are invisible makes you invisible. Yeah. I'd love for that to get figured out. Jeez. That is incredibly, wow. Her thought process is kind of out there. All right, folks, let's talk about, I'm going to try and get a few more of these in here because let's face it, that makes me, anyway, let's talk about the fact that you can download the Rumble app. You know, we were playing with the Rumble app here just a minute ago, and I had to demonstrate that at least in the Android version of the app, I could go ahead and change personalities. But anyway, if you haven't already, make sure you download the Rumble app. It's free, simple to use, and the best way to stay connected to the content that you want. Once you've got it, search up my channel and hit the green follow button. That way you'll get notified every time that I go live. You'll have no missed shows, no extra steps. You can just click on the notification and it should pop up my video when I go live. You can grab it right now using the link in the description or pinned in our live chat. Download it to your phone and you're ready to go. Oh, don't forget, you can also search for it in both the Google Play and iPhone stores. Okay. And you're ready to go. And if you prefer watching on the big screen, Rumble is also available on all major streaming devices and smart TVs. I can tell you it's on Roku's. I know that. Just search for Rumble and follow the channel, this channel, and you'll be part of the action. You can go ahead and get things done. Download the Rumble app today and never miss another one of my shows, whether you're running out to the store, out on the go, or just sitting at home and relaxing. You can pop open on the TV and you can see me in fantastic 1080p 1080p resolution. I don't know if you really want to do that, but you know, because I got a face for radio. But anyway, moving on. Go to the Rumble, to all of the stores, and download the Rumble app today, and be part of the action. Just search for Rumble and then follow the channel, follow this channel, and be part of our action here, right here on the page. That's right. All right. Oh, so Gavin Newsom, yeah, he's decided to step into the moron files. Not like this is really anything surprising here. I mean, Democrats have been after this for quite some time. See, these Democrats seem to misunderstand that until they stop, or until their followers, their leftist lunatic morons, followers, stop doxing these people, okay, then you know, these police officers are attempting to prevent their identities for the safety of themselves and their children from being released. Well, California Governor Gavin Newsom, according to NPR, has signed a law banning law enforcement from wearing masks on duty, except for things like riot gear, medical masks, and, of course, undercover work. Okay. The thing about it is, though, is that he is, and so are all the leftists that are out there, they're all attempting to make this about the federal government. The last time that I checked, which honestly was like 5 minutes ago, the federal government does not, and I say this again, does not adhere to California state laws because the federal laws trump the state laws. And Trump, of course, keep in mind, I'm not being facetious or tongue-in-cheek on that whole thing. Yeah, I'd really like to see how this is going to go if he attempts to, get this stuff taken care of. So, Newsom, of course, who's a moron, a Democrat moron, and a frequent critic of President Trump, said that it was a sign of growing authoritarianism to have detentions by masked men hidden from accountability, any transparency, any oversight. He called that Trump's America. He said federal agents had operated for years in the state unmasked and called the masking a new construct conceived to terrorize our diverse communities. No, Gavin, it was because your jackass leftist lunatics in your party decided to try and, shall we say, decided to dox these people and put their families, themselves and their families at risk. So the law, called by the sponsors the No Secret Police Act, comes in response to increased immigration enforcement in California, particularly in L.A., and Newsom went to L.A. to sign that bill. So we're just going to have to see. The impact, by the way, could be decided in court because the law actually takes effect next year, and it's unclear exactly what powers state lawmakers have to regulate the conduct of federal law enforcement. It's literally zero. Anyway, University of California Davis law professor Raquel Aldana, sorry, I thought it was an M. It's an N. Says California is trying to use this law to identify what federal agents can and cannot do within the state. She said there has to be a line somewhere for states outlawing as hypothetical extremes things like murder or torture by federal agents. At some point, the answer has to be no, and I think this is what the state of California is trying to do. Establish limits as to how much the federal government can do within the jurisdiction of the state. It's an issue of state sovereignty. Lawmakers in a few other states, including New York and Massachusetts, are considering similar moves. Yeah, this is going to be kind of interesting. So, yeah, we'll see how this goes into place. How it goes into play. Newsom, in addition to that law, also signed several other bills, including one that would require law enforcement to clearly display their name or badge number while on duty, another requiring schools to notify parents and staff when immigration enforcement is on site, and two others prohibiting schools and healthcare facilities from allowing ICE agents on their grounds without valid warrants. Now, I'm going to tell you, all of these are going to go into court, realistically. So, yeah. And by the way, too, just so you're aware, apparently the bill that dealt with the mask law was not applied to California state-level law enforcement. Yeah. So, so the staties get away with putting masks on their faces, but it also applies not only to federal law enforcement, but it also applies to police and sheriff's offices and other local agencies who routinely operate unmasked. Yeah, I don't see this thing actually getting all the way through. I really don't. I really don't see this getting all the way through. I'm just saying. When it hits the federal court system, I think it'll get thrown out. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. When it hits the Supreme Court, because guaranteed it's going to go all the way to the Supreme Court. You know what, folks? I just noticed, because I'm holding it right here in my hand, I just noticed you guys let me get away with something that you never have before. And I have a feeling it's because some of you didn't come in right away. So we're going to backtrack and pick up the segment called, oops, I'm going to go back. On this day in American history. Yeah, there we go. So on this day in American history, of course, we read from the American Patriots Almanac, written by William J. Bennett and John T.E. Cribb. It is chock full of all kinds of information and factoids about this wonderful country that we call home, which apparently now apparently there's a bunch of leftists who are leaving the country because of what happened to Kimmel. Yes, anyway. Oh yeah. I know you guys did. I get it. We did it on Constitution Day, so you thought that I was going to skip here, but well, let's not and pretend that we did skip. So here we go. Today on September 20th, Mary Edwards Walker September 20th, 1863 brought the end of the Battle of Chickamauga. Wow. In northwest Georgia, some of the hardest fighting of the Civil War. As Union casualties streamed into Chattanooga, Tennessee, many soldiers were surprised to find that the doctor tending their wounds was a woman dressed in gold-striped trousers, a green surgeon's sash, and a straw hat with an ostrich feather. Interesting. Mary Edwards Walker had graduated from Syracuse Medical College 8 years earlier, becoming one of America's first female doctors. That was unusual enough, but Walker set herself even further apart by refusing to wear long, heavy dresses, opting instead for pants. She was born to break molds. When the Civil War began, she volunteered to serve as a doctor. The Army wasn't sure what to make of her, but doctors were in short supply, and she was soon working near Union lines as a volunteer field surgeon. She requested a commission as an officer, but was turned down since she was a woman. She went on to volunteering, treating both soldiers and civilians. In April of 1864, she was captured and spent 4 months in a Richmond prison until exchanged for a Confederate officer. After the war, the Army awarded Dr. Walker the Medal of Honor in recognition for her service. To Walker, the medal represented the recognition she had so long wanted. She was outraged when in 1916 the Army decided to rescind more than 900 medals as undeserved, including hers, because she had never officially been in the Army. Walker refused to return her award. On the contrary, she proudly wore it every day for the rest of her life. In 1977, the Army restored Mary Edwards Walker's medal on the grounds that had she been a man, she would have been commissioned as an officer. She remains the sole female recipient of the Medal of Honor. And that is today's On This Day in American History. Wow. Just one of those little factoids that make our country great. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Okay, well, let's just let's move on to the next subject here. So we know the commissions and the hearings on the use of the auto pen, as well as the rest of the Biden blunders during his time, whether or not he was non-compos mentis during his 4 years, etc., etc. Well, the House Oversight Committee opened the investigation and was focused on the presidential auto pen use for the pardons for it. And during the, obviously during the Biden-Harris administration, and they issued, obviously, several subpoenas to aides for documents and testimony. Now, on Thursday, former White House Chief of Staff Jeff Zients, that's Zients, appeared before the committee. During his conversation, he provided some new details about the internal decision-making process in the final days of Joe Biden's term. Now, reports had been surfacing over the summer with the New York Times revealing that Zients had approved the use of the auto pen for pardons. issued on January 19th, 2025. For those of you that don't know, that's that date. That's one day prior to his changeover at noon to Donald Trump on the 20th. Now, according to the report, Biden convened senior aides in the yellow Oval Room of the White House residence late into the evening to discuss decisions on clemency. Now, here's where part of the problem comes into play, because nobody really remembers Joe Biden being cognizant after 10 p.m., but apparently at 10:03, an aide to White House counsel Ed Siskel sent a draft summary of Biden's decisions to an assistant of Zentz, copying Siskel, the White House counsel, on the message. The assistant then forwarded the draft to other aides, including Steve Ricchetti and Zentz, requesting approval. By 10:28 p.m., the assistant circulated the final version to the White House staff. Now, at 10:31 p.m., Zentz replied to the group, writing, "I approve the use of the auto pen for the execution of all of the following pardons." Now, here's the problem. He's not supposed to be in charge of the auto pen. How is it that he is approving the use of the auto pen? That's supposed to be the president's job in doing that. So the New York Post reported that Zentz confirmed that exchange as a part of his testimony, while also addressing some other sensitive matters that haven't been disclosed yet. According to a source familiar with the remarks, Zentz told investigators that he recommended Biden actually undergo a cognitive exam after the June 27th, 2024 presidential debate, where Biden struggled to answer questions coherently and lost his train of thought multiple times. Again, if you remember that disastrous debate with Donald Trump, that's where he essentially lost all support and was essentially rolled off the cliff by the Democrat Party, which it made Kamala Harris the choice. Zentz reportedly told the committee that he raised the issue directly with White House physician Kevin O'Connor, recommending a full medical workup that included a cognitive test. So, yeah. At the time, Biden's staff attributed his performance to a cold, although he was photographed shortly after the debate visiting a Waffle House. Obviously, he didn't have a cold. So, Zentz's testimony also touched on Hunter Biden's involvement. Now, this is a real surprising thing. According to the New York Post, Zentz told congressional investigators that Hunter Biden attended some of the pardon-related meetings toward the end of the administration. Now, what the hell is the president's son, who has zero security clearance, to hear these kinds of things? What would be his purpose in these meetings? Zentz reportedly said that toward the end of the Biden administration, Hunter Biden was involved with the pardon discussions and attended a few meetings, which, of course, this confirms earlier reports about the president's son exerting influence while facing legal challenges of his own, including a firearm felony conviction and guilty plea on tax evasion charges, not to mention the fact that he also was facing potential challenges to his laptop and the additional money that he had received from places like Burisma. Anyway, so the disclosures now have intensified scrutiny over how the pardons were granted in the administration's final days and the role of senior staff and family members in the decision-making process. So this is, well, it's not good. Let's just put it that way. not good for the Bidens. I would hazard a guess that a lot of this is just adding evidence to potentially invalidate those pardons, which, by the way, would have included Dr. Anthony Fauci, the January 6th bullshit committee, the unselect committee, as Trump likes to call it, and so on and so forth. This is going to be quite interesting. However, I am going to withhold, as much as I would love to see something like that happen, I'm going to withhold any supposition in terms of whether or not the Republicans will actually have some cojones and do something about this. Realistically, this should be a legal dispute and brought by the Trump administration against the former Biden administration and taken all the way to the Supreme Court is where it should go. But anyway, yeah, we'll just have to see. Speaking of disasters, yes, Kamala Harris is on her 107 days book tour. Anyway, so she made a comment in her book, because keep in mind, pre-orders are still being taken. There are some copies that have been released so far, and some of these people, some people have been graced with this, and they've been able to like pick out different things out of the book. That's kind of how this stuff works. They're trying to generate buzz so that people will actually go and do the pre-orders and buy this thing. But anyway, apparently in the book, Kamala Harris made a comment where she said that she had no idea that she, quote, pulled the pin on a hand grenade when she appeared on The View and was asked a specific question with regards to the Biden administration. So apparently, she claims in her book, by the way, that this answer was the grenade that she pulled the pin on. Take a listen.
What do you think would be the biggest specific difference between your presidency and a Biden presidency?
Well, we're obviously two different people, and we have a lot of shared life experiences. For example, the way we feel about our family and our parents and so on. But we're also different people, and I will bring those sensibilities to how I lead. For example, I know we're going to talk today, but one of the issues that I'm very focused on is what we do around home health care.
Yes.
I have done a lot of work as it relates to, sadly, but violence against women and children. I care a lot about that. I love our small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me predominantly, but we had what we called a second mother who lived 2 houses down, who helped my mother raise us. She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses. And so the influence of a personal experience will have its impact on the presidency.
Well, if anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
Okay, this is the question.
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
There it is. She's been part of those decisions that have had an impact. Okay, I'm just going to point this out because I keep doing this over and over and over again. I would love to hear, first of all, how have we gotten into a point where we actually believe that the president creates laws that would do this? I mean, now, if she had prefaced all that with, I will work with Congress to, then she would be constitutionally correct. Insofar as she would work with Congress to try and create these laws and then, of course, enforce these laws. But her position as president is to enforce and enact the laws that Congress creates. Now, all of that thrown aside, let's just point this out. None of what she actually talked about shows up in Article 1, Section 8 of the United States Constitution. I still want somebody to tell me where does it say that the federal government is supposed to do things like monitor small business, provide health care, any of the other wish list dreams that the Democrats seem to think that they can do underneath the Constitution. Now, all of that being said, somebody did ask me, they were like, well, the fact of the matter is that Congress actually is doing it. Well, no shit. They're doing it unconstitutionally because they haven't been challenged over it. And believe me, if I had the money and the time, I would be challenging. Again, I'm just going to pull this out. Elon Musk, dude. Elon, you want to correct the course and right the ship on this? And you're kind of pissed off at the Trump administration? I mean, if you are, you've sort of indicated that you're not all that enthused with the Trump administration. I've got a solution for you, sir. It's a very simple solution, although it is going to take money and time and effort. The simple solution is we need to sue the federal government for breaking their constitutional oath, which is essentially that all things that are not part of Article 1, Section 8 is subject to the 10th Amendment. And that's the suit that we need to take on. Honestly, that is the complete suit. A lot of our problems would completely go away if we were to do that. And so I'm just throwing this out there. I know I'm transmitting on X. It's probably not going to get picked up by Elon Musk because, let's face it, I'm a little guppy in a very big pond. But I'm telling you, sir, look into it. Get some constitutional lawyers, some real constitutional lawyers. Not the BS that, are running around. I'm telling you right now, I personally, just by reading the Constitution, can tell you that they are way outside their constitutional boundaries. And this is Congress. This isn't the presidency, although the president is also, going along with it. But this is Congress. And if you go back to Donald Trump and talk to Donald Trump about it, I'm telling you, I think a case can definitely be made. Because Article 1, Section 8 describes the specific enumerated things, according to Federalist 14 that James Madison wrote, the enumerated things that the federal government is supposed to be doing. And I guarantee you there's a lot in there that the federal government is doing that is not part of Article 1, Section 8. And therefore, the 10th Amendment applies. I'm going to be standing on my soapbox all the time for all of this. Just saying. All right? Well, what's kind of interesting is that, even though the 107 Days has come out, there is we'll call it a spoof book, I guess. I don't know, but this one I think is kind of interesting. According to Front Page, there's another book or some thing that you can go out and buy that says it's the 107 Horrible Days, which is the real story of the Kamala campaign. Yeah. Anyway, it also says behind the scenes of one of the dumbest campaigns by one of the dumbest candidates. I actually I'm considering getting this. This is a pamphlet put out by David Greenfield, and apparently you can order it now with it. And I'm going to look into this. Anyway, why did Kamala Harris lose the 2024 election? Well, according to her failed new book, 107 Days, it's because she only had 107 days to campaign, and that just wasn't enough time to do complicated things like come up with a platform, print up lawn signs, reinvent herself as someone people would vote for. All of that should have been done like long before. I mean, she should have been reinventing herself and making herself somebody that she could vote. That would have pushed Joe Biden. But Three Chevy points this out. I actually think this would be funny if this little pamphlet thing actually outsold the book. So again, all you have to do is download, or let's see, how much is this? I want to see. We're going to do this right here live. Let's see how much this thing is. Oh, wow. It's cheap too. $3. It's digital only, and you can pay with Shop here. So if you're thinking about it, and I guess if you want, you can, yeah, it's only available in digital. But yeah, you might want to take a look at this thing. This is through Front Page Magazine. And the link to the original is in the show notes. So yeah, go ahead and take a look at that. It's it's Front Page. Yeah. I may take a look at this and see if I can order this. I'm going to hang on to that. Oh my gosh, that would be fantastic to see that, like, oversell her book. That would be awesome. Oh, I might just get it just to have it for the show. I'm gonna have to take a look. Anyway. All right, let's talk about this wonderful thing that I drink every single morning, and believe me, I do, in a 16-ounce coffee cup that has "Father like no other" printed on the side, a gift from my children to me for Father's Day. It is my favorite cup. I drink out of it every day. Believe me, it's stained just to go along with it, with the coffee. But let me just tell you right now, if you still haven't tried 1775 coffee, now is your opportunity to do it. The 1775 starter kit just dropped. There's only 1,000 units available. That's what they say. I'm sure there's a lot less right now. In each kit, you're getting a bold dark roast that hits hard, a smooth, you get to try out the smooth medium roast, and you'll also get to try out the Vitality Mushroom Coffee for clean energy and laser focus with no crash. All of these coffees are single origin, small batch, toxin-free, and mold-free. Plus, you're also going to get my personal favorite, a gold spoon clip. A gold spoon clip. I got to say that right. I think I've got a little too much Bushmills in me. Anyway, a gold spoon clip. Because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. A frother that's strong enough to stir up not only your coffee, but also your mother-in-law's opinions. And believe me, she has an opinion on everything. Trust me, I know. You'll also receive a black 1775 tumbler. It's $170 worth of coffee and gear, $170 worth. Yours for just simply $99. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 coffee blow up on Rumble and are wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler alert, it is. Go to, and this is the website, number 1775, the word coffee, all together, all one word, 1775coffee.com/studio. For those of you that don't know, the / is a question mark key on your keyboard. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they are gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something, just like Rumble does. Go to 1775coffee/studio, STUDIO, and grab your starter kit before they're gone. That's 1775coffee.com/studio. Grab your starter kit today. All right. Yeah, I'm going to have to hang on to this. Oh, well, we're going to continue with the moron files. Yeah. I mean, our former first place winner, well, she's no longer first place. Jasmine Crockett takes over first place in this in tonight. But former first place winner of the moron files, AOC, well, apparently she's thinking about doing a White House bid in 2028. Yeah, this is no surprise. Anyway, her team apparently told Axios that she's weighing two possible options: a 2028 presidential bid or a Senate challenge to Democrat leader Chuck Schumer. I'm going to be honest with you. I think she has a better chance of winning going up against Chuck Schumer. But yeah. Either way, why is it that these people, whenever they do something stupid or they are stupid, all they can do is like promote up? You never see them promote out. They're always promoted up. I don't understand that. It's almost as though people are like, well, hell, she did such a damn good job here because she screwed everything up. Maybe if we put her in higher office, she'll actually not be able to do just as bad. Yeah. Okay. She obviously has been working to expand her national profile by going on the Fighting Oligarchy tour with, of course, the oligarch himself, Senator Bernie Sanders. Headlining town halls all across the country, she's poured millions into boosting her social media reach while building a broad base of potential donors and supporters. She's positioning herself to ramp up fundraising for the possible national campaign. I got to tell you right now, I think it would be glorious. I mean, you remember the vice presidential debate between J.D. Vance and Tim Walz. And not saying that Tim Walz is necessarily the sharpest knife in the drawer or an Einstein in any way, but Walz is an Einstein when compared to AOC. So just imagine, whoever J.D. Vance picks for his running mate, honestly, I hope it would be somebody like maybe Marco Rubio. Could you imagine Marco Rubio debating her on a national stage? Yeah, this would be fun. But anyway, yeah, Axios. Oh, Axios seems to think that she's going to do it. Anyway. Now, what's the kind of the issue here, of course, is that her team apparently is sitting here pumping her up because according to Axios, her team has suggested that even if she doesn't expect to win a presidential race, she could still shift the political landscape by giving progressives a larger stake in the contest. Kind of like what Bernie Sanders did in his challenge to Hillary Clinton in 2016. No, I seem to recall Bernie Sanders getting shoved under the bus by Hillary Clinton in 2016 when all the Bernie bros were behind Bernie. Yeah, I think he reportedly got another house out of that. But I don't know that for a fact, so just take it as gossip. Anyway. Oh my gosh. Yeah. At the very least, Axios says she could force the eventual Democratic nominee to cater to the party's progressive wing. They're progressive. That's their leftist lunatic wing, which has grown in popularity in recent months. You know what? If that happens, I'm just going to point this out. Democrats, if you chose AOC, or at least allow AOC to run for a presidential bid, thinking that she's going to, invigorate your base, just go ahead and do it. I mean, seriously, put her and Jasmine Crockett together on a ticket. I'm just going to say this. Put the two of them together on a ticket. That's going to be a winning combination right there. Winning for J.D. Vance and whoever he picks as his running mate in 2028. I'm just saying. Because you could not take two more stupid, unlikable people and put them together on a ticket. Have you noticed your ratings, Democrats? You guys took a complete freaking left turn, a hard left turn. And you think that going even more left is going to do you any good. I mean, you've taken an extreme left turn. Yeah, I just go ahead and do it. I want to see your utter destruction continue because, yeah, let's just face it. The Democrat Party is literally the socialist, Marxist, communist, fascist, totalitarianism party, totally against completely anti-American in today's day and age. And I guarantee you, based off of the stuff that's been going on over the course of the last couple of weeks, I don't see 2026, nor do I see 2028 realistically being a close race. I mean, I'll admit you will get probably a third of the country, because a third of the country, honestly, is incredibly malleable and brainwashed and stupid. But I honestly don't see you getting any of those middle of the road independents that everybody has to court and get into their side in order to win elections. I honestly don't see how that's going to happen. I really don't, especially if you're going with stuff like, oh, let's just even say that, let's take a look at what happens in New York as an example. Like I've been saying for multiple years now, if you want to find out what socialist Marxist ideology is like, just take a look at California and New York. And by New York, I mean New York City. And if you think that Zoran Mamdani, or Mamdani, whatever his frickin' name is, in New York City is going to do for you anything positive in terms of going to 2028, I mean, this guy is basically going to turn New York City literally into a ghost town, probably within a couple of years. So if he gets voted in 2026, just watch what happens in New York City. New York City is going to just freaking crash like a plane that's lost all of its engines. I can almost guarantee you with that. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch. So anyway. All right. So let's talk a little bit, by the way, about AI. Everybody is jumping on the AI bandwagon, and I mean like a lot. Like the whole stock market is making a huge bet on AI. And so many people use things like Grok and OpenAI and ChatGPT for all of their things, for all the things. I mean, I see it all the time on X. People are like, hey, Grok, what about X? What about this? And by X, I don't mean X. I mean, what about this? What about, this topic? And Grok comes back and they all jump on it. And if it gave them the answer that they wanted, and they sit there and they all jump on it and they go, hey, yeah, this is really cool. AI is right. Look at Grok. Grok is saying the right information. Folks, any AI is only as good as the information that is being put into it. It is not a all-seeing eye that can show you truth. It is not an all-seeing eye that can discern truth from fiction. All it does, it's a language learning model, and all it does is it goes and searches the web, finds the most prominent answer, and then presents that to you as though it is fact. And that's not the case at all. And in fact, many people have noticed that like ChatGPT, when you go and use it to try and write a research paper for you, that it can sometimes have mistakes and errors. So if you don't go through and like dig through it, all right, then, and correct it and correct, spelling errors, grammatical errors, things like that, you're not going to get anywhere. Well, apparently, and this, of course, again, this is California. So, yeah, a lot of morons live in California. Here in Breitbart, a California lawyer was punished for using AI. And what did the AI do? Well, it cited fake cases. Like it created its cases. So a lawyer in California was hit with sanctions by the courts after it was discovered that he had been citing cases that literally did not exist. They were made up by AI programs. This out of the Daily Journal. By now, most attorneys are familiar with the limitations of artificial intelligence, particularly its tendency to produce fabricated citations and unreliable authority. But the California Court of Appeals has now made it clear that those hallucinations can carry very real consequences. In the case Nolan versus Land of the Free, Division 3 of the 2nd District sanctioned the plaintiff's attorney $10,000 and reported him to the state after finding that nearly all of the legal quotations in his appellate briefs were invented by generative AI tools and had never appeared in any published case. First of all, what the hell is a lawyer being that damn stupid? Oh yeah, I'm just gonna go to AI and I'm gonna believe it. Well, that would be Jasmine Crockett. AI believing that you're not a criminal, even if you do a criminal act. Folks, I'm telling you, do not trust AI at all. Do not trust it. Period. Period. You're going to be stupider if you do. Well, speaking about that, now, apparently AI has gone even one step further. So here is a report from TechCrunch. OpenAI's research on AI models deliberately lying. Wait, what? So AI is now deliberately lying? Wow. So Google, just to give you kind of a background, Google at one point said that its latest quantum chip indicated that multiple universes exist. And then, of course, the Anthropic gave its AI agent Claudius a snack vending machine to run and as a test, and it went amok, calling security on people and insisting that it was a human. Well, now, OpenAI released on Monday, there was some research that explained how it's stopping AI models from actually scheming. Wait, what? It's practice. It's a practice in which the AI behaves one way on the surface while hiding its true goals. Seriously, folks, you want to think about things like, oh, I don't know, the Terminator, Skynet, any other, oh my gosh. Folks, I can't even believe. OpenAI defined in its tweet about the research that had a paper that was conducted with Apollo Research. The researchers went a bit further, likening the AI to actually scheming. For an example, like a human stockbroker breaking the law to make as much money as possible. What? So this thing, which is supposed to be controlled by humans, is actually lying to humans now in order for some nefarious goal? Now, the researchers in the paper apparently said that most AI scheming wasn't harmful. Yeah, you say that now. They wrote, quote, the most common failures involve a simple form of deception. For instance, pretending to have completed a task without actually doing so. Oh, you mean like leftists? Yeah. Anyway. The paper, which was mostly published to show that deliberative alignment, which is the anti-scheming technique that they were testing, actually worked well. So, yeah. Now, it also explained that AI developers haven't quite figured out a way to train their models not to scheme. Huh. So, Grok could scheme to fake everybody out by saying that, oh, I don't know, the Republican president is, or the Republican candidate for president is working with the Russians subversively. Oh, wait, that was the Democrat Party Clinton thing that, okay. Oh my gosh, man. I'm telling you, we're entering into a whole new world. Do not believe AI. Do not believe AI. Don't do it. Anyway. You know, I'm just going to say, trust but verify. If you go by that, no matter what happens, yeah, just verify everything. Verify everything. All right. Now I got to get serious for a minute. I got to get some seriousness going here. Because to be, the whole Afghanistan withdrawal, which I told you when it happened, one of the most stupidest things that we could have done was given away Bagram Air Base. Because Bagram Air Base was in a strategic location, and it was very important to us being able to acquire intelligence in that part of the world. As of right now, we are literally blind in that section of the planet. Well, apparently I'm not the only one who thinks this. According to an article originally published by Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, and being reprinted with permission in American Military News, Donald Trump has said that he wants Bagram Air Base back in U.S. control. He was speaking alongside the UK Prime Minister, Starmer, on September 18th, and Trump suggested that his administration was negotiating with the Taliban for the U.S. forces to once again occupy the base outside of Kabul, which was abandoned in 2021 shortly before the Taliban retook control of Afghanistan. He said that the base's strategic location close to nuclear sites in China, which shares a short 92-kilometer border with Afghanistan, made it particularly valuable. Trump said during the joint press conference in Britain, quote, "We're trying to get it back because they need things from us. We want that base back. But one of the reasons we want that base is, as you know, it's an hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons." Now, Trump didn't elaborate on what the Taliban might need from the United States, and it's unclear whether he was actually referring to an actual plan to take ownership or retake ownership, or which exact Chinese facilities that he was mentioning. But, yeah. That's all I'm going to say. So Bagram is about 40 kilometers north of Kabul and was built by the Soviet Union back in the 1950s. It was the largest U.S. base in Afghanistan and served as the Central Command during its 20-year occupation of Afghanistan. During his September 18th press conference, Trump said that Bagram was one of the largest air bases in the world, one of the biggest runways constructed of heavy concrete and steel. The airfield itself has a 3.6-kilometer runway capable of serving bombers, large cargo aircraft, etc., which is part of the reason why I sat here and was saying, why the hell would Biden not back up to Bagram? I mean, seriously. I mean, that was one of many stupid maneuvers during that pullout that was there. So, yeah. Anyway. What a mess. All right. Well, in speaking of the military and the U.S. military, the Pentagon has pissed off the reporters, our mainstream media. Yeah, what else is new? This is a Saturday. Anyway. The Pentagon has now limited the reporters' ability to leak classified information, and those reporters are not happy. So Secretary of War Pete Hegseth unveiled new rules yesterday that will severely limit the ability of reporters to report from within the Pentagon, outside of established public affairs clearance channels. In the future, reporters will have limited access to the Pentagon without an official public affairs escort. They will have to display their press pass at all times, and under the new rules would be the grounds for the journalist's press pass to be revoked if they are in possession of confidential or unauthorized information. This policy was foreshadowed back in May when Secretary Hegseth imposed an array of press restrictions in the wake of some harmful leaks. So basically what's happening is the left in the mainstream media are saying that this is unprecedented, that this is not, this is just added to the whole Jimmy Kimmel kind of thing. I'm just going to point something out to you folks. Okay, outside of Freedom of Information Act requests, the federal government has literally zero responsibility or accountability to the mainstream media to hand over anything in terms of classified or even declassified information or unclassified information. Because smart people can actually take unclassified information and make inferences and discover classified stuff. So realistically, the press needs to understand that, no, this is a matter of national security, regardless of what you guys think. And you are not going to be given unfettered access to the Pentagon and all of its information. That this should only be coming from the Pentagon's official public affairs locations. That's it. And you guys again, here, I'm just pointing this out. This, once again, is a representative of a system that has been unpoliced, unenforced for at least a couple of decades, if not more. And now they're starting to cry foul. And that's a bunch of shit. They need to just shut up and go away. So, yeah. Anyway. The rules apply to information obtained in the Pentagon itself. That's it. So, yeah. Anyway. That's actually a good thing. Believe it or not. That is actually a good thing. All right, folks, let's get on to our question of the week. All right, this question was posted earlier in the Facebook chat on an earlier show, and it intrigued me, so I went ahead and took it. But Mark, over on Facebook, submitted the question saying, has the U.S. Constitution, I think it was on Constitution Day, said, has the U.S. Constitution ever been copied? In other words, has it ever been used by any other country? Well, let me just tell you. While the U.S. Constitution has influenced many other countries, it has not been directly or completely copied by any other nation. Now, parts and pieces have been taken from it, such as separation of powers, the idea of federalism, the ideas of having a Bill of Rights, the concept of having a written constitution that was ratified by the people have all been adopted and adapted by many other countries. For an example, Latin American countries like Venezuela back in 1811, Mexico in 1824, and the Central American Federation in 1825, as well as Argentina in 1826, were among the first to adopt constitutions that were inspired by the U.S. model. Unfortunately, not anybody has really been able to make them successfully work like the American Constitution has. In fact, Japan in 1947 created a constitution that was drafted during the U.S. occupation of Japan and does reflect American influence, particularly in its democratic framework and protection of individual rights. However, the Japan one established a parliamentary system, which anybody who knows American civil, civics, I should say, American civics knows that we are not in a parliamentary system. So they set up the parliamentary system rather than a presidential one in order to preserve the role of the emperor. So they sort of let's say, mimicked the UK, the UK's setup. Now, interestingly enough, the United Kingdom, the United Kingdom doesn't actually have a full-on written constitution. They have several documents that rule their country that they utilize, but those documents have never been like formally placed together and merged into one constitution. So while the U.S. Constitution has served as a symbolic and structural model, many specific mechanisms, for an example, even the Electoral College or the rigid amendment process that we have under Article 5 are very rarely replicated. And I kind of found it interesting, too. I did find a reference, by the way, this specifically for Becky, our Australian individual who comes in every single night. Thank you for that. Well, it's daytime for her, but Australia actually has modeled some of theirs off of the U.S. Constitution. So some of the stuff that you guys do is actually taken or at least modeled after the U.S. Constitution. I wonder why no one has ever like outright copied our U.S. Constitution anywhere and tried to make it work. I think a lot of people don't seem to understand that our Constitution actually needs to be backed up by like what John Adams once said, which is that the Constitution is made wholly for a moral and religious people. And that might be at least one element that is lost when other countries attempt to try and copy our constitutional background. That because of the fact that the Constitution was created by the founding fathers, who all of them believed in God. They all believed in Judeo-Christian principles and values, regardless of whether they were a Christian religion or not. But every single one of them believed in God and believed in the individual rights of the people. And that, my friends, might be the reason why the American Constitution has survived for 250 years. Well, almost 250 years. We're at 249. So we're going to get there soon. But anyway, actually, no, I think we're at 247, maybe. I don't know. I can't remember. I'd have to do math. And right now, I'm not in the mood to do math. So anyway, let's go ahead and just say, hey, that's it for me for this evening. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are signed up and signed in, make sure that you search up the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time that I go live. Also, too, don't forget to give me your thumbs up, thumbs down, or if you're 3 Chevy, your thumb sideways across all of my platforms on X, YouTube, Facebook, and, of course, the aforementioned Rumble. We will see you Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your weekend and enjoy your Sunday. Good night, everybody.